So years ago, I did a film with Griffin Dunn. And we met on Lot Airlines on our way to Poland to do a movie about the Warsaw Ghetto called The Wall. A 4-hour miniseries with Tom Conti, Lisa Eichhorn, and Diane Wiest, and Griffin Dunn, who was playing my brother, and Eli Wallach, and that's how I met him. And became great friends, still friends. We still work together. And he had produced the John Hurt, Mary Beth Hurt film, Chilly Scenes of Winter. They asked me to come in, and I did the whole audition process. I tested a screen test, had a couple auditions with John, and then I got the role. When I got Baby 2, I lived at John Hurd's apartment just as a roommate. I was like his little sister.
I wouldn't be an actress all the time, only until I found him and fell in love with him. After that, we'd take a train and go to the beautiful cities and see the wonderful people everywhere.
That's enough. Very nice, Jill.
I'm sorry. I went off the wrong track. I'm sorry.
An actor never apologizes for an audition, dear. Next, please.
I just loved her just wanting to be an actress and her struggle of, coming to life and, from being this kind of privileged background to, coming into being alone with herself, and the love story. There was a love story, but it wasn't really, it was kind of her first experience of a relationship and her figuring that out.
I don't want you driving by my house at night. I don't want you to call me. I've had nothing but trouble ever since I met you. Leave me alone, okay?
What do you think? You're too fucking good for me? Huh? That's it. Go ahead. Walk away. Go ahead. Turn your little chin up in the air. Go home to daddy.
I was younger than this character and had grown up nothing like this character, like at all. But my mother's Jewish, so that makes me Jewish. And but I grew up completely hippie bohemian. Like, this was so foreign to me. So just throwing myself into the skin of another human being, which is, the great part of being an actor. John Sayles, who I loved, great director. Wish I could work with him again. We never worked together again, and I was like, why not? I was going through like a heartbreak vibe in that time. I just remember being, kind of in a breakup weird time, and I just so it was just he could see I was struggling with the scene, and he where were we? I think we were in the cafeteria, and he just said, and we just ran around the building. He had me run around the building. He was like, I think he had a basketball while we were running around the building, and I just loved actually the instinct for him to be able to get me out of this space that was in my head and physically move it out of my body to come sit down and do the scene, which ended up being the right energy. This is Amy Robinson's story, and Amy and Griffin are incredible, working for years, were great producing partners. They're hands-on producers. They're great. They have great taste. I love the screenplay, and I really do. It's one of the movies that I am very proud of in my career. I really like it. I can't believe it's 40 years ago. He just captured New Jersey, and then how she brings her into this world that she never saw, never explored.
You like to drive fast?
I love it.
I'll see you tomorrow then.
Don't count on it.
No, we had a really great thing that came through in the film, which is important to have when you're chemistry is really important to have, especially, I've done many movies where it's like you can't stand the person and you just feel like, and you really have to fake it till you make it on film. But when you you can do it and no one could ever tell, but when you have a chemistry that's an energetic thing, that comes through on the screen. I have that with Griffin Dunn too. And everything was authentic. I love the costumes, and I when I auditioned, I had blonde hair, kind of long blonde hair, so I cut it and dyed it. And Michael Ballhaus, who shot it, ended up being, one of the great cinematographers, and his light was so beautiful. He was just a lovely, kind a real artist.
Hey, hey, hey! Did I tell you about me and Frank Sinatra?
Nope.
Me and Frank Sinatra are like that. You know what I mean?
Jane Fonda's a great friend of mine, and I interview her in a documentary called Searching for Deborah Winger, and she's talking about when it happened, like when the moment happens and you're just flying. It's like flying, and it's effortless. That was one of those moments in my career that in that scene, and I've always loved when comedy comes out of being uncomfortable and just comes naturally, and that happened in that scene. And then Matthew Modine, that was his first movie. I love those scenes. I love our stuff.
I'll call you when dinner's ready.
We had a killer soundtrack, Bruce Springsteen. I was in the south of France, this Hotel de Cap, and Bruce and Patty were there, who I know. But Bruce, saying, I love that movie so much. He loves the movie, so it was so neat that he loves this movie. And this was a few years ago, just a couple of years ago, and that it resonates for him as the songwriter, and those songs in it, even though it's not the time of it, that's what I love about the use of music that Griffin has so much, that Martin Scorsese has so much, and John has. It's not the time of the song, but it was the emotion of the song that worked so well. I just remember the music of Bruce when I'm in this bar that's exciting. He takes me to a bar, and he's talking to the guys, and I'm just watching everything, and it was really, I just was literally going with the music, the energy of the music. And I'd love to do a whole film like that. That's because if I use it, those days it was the Walkman. But I always use music to get into certain moods or energies that I have to be in a place. It's music that gets me there. It was actually on the jukebox. That's the great stuff that John did. There was playback, which I love. I love when a director does that. But of course you have to turn it off when you're doing the scene. It just gets you into the moment. I love scenes where there's no dialogue. I love when you can create what's happening in a moment of just watching, being in it. Music is a part of it, and and we're witnessing everything without dialogue. You're actually in it. And it's kind of my favorite things to do. It's interesting, that ending, because for me it was like, she kind of says that she doesn't really want to be with him. They're not going to end up together after this, I don't think. She kind of told him this is really their last dance. I don't want to be a housewife.
That's not who I want to be! I don't know what I want, but it's not that!
And I've been screaming that to the universe ever since. Flashdance came out at the same time. They didn't have us do press really very much, and they picked it was almost like it was getting buried. It was really sad. We had pretty great reviews. It's an art film. It is, and they didn't get that or want it. I'm excited that Baby It's You's coming out. I do love this movie. It was an important movie in my career, in that even though it wasn't this huge success, it really, for me, is one of the films that resonated to me as it's pure, it's art. It's a beautiful screenplay, beautifully produced and shot, and there's some good acting in there, I think, for everybody as an ensemble cast. Everybody came together and gave their all, and because of that, it made a little magic.